What up, YouTube? You already know Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou and FZR2 baby. So man, here I am touching on this subject again, right? But a little bit different, somewhat different. Now I'm gonna get right to it, right? I just make it brief. The first time you're coming to the channel, be highly appreciated if you like to share the channel with your family, friends, folks, peoples, gente, buddies, pals, amigos, amicos, and like us, Puertorriqueños, Boricuas, Jibaritos, Portorros, Ricans, PRs, say, panas. Uh, and just a little brief, if you haven't watched any of the videos yet, pre-recorded videos or live streams or even the shorts, we talk about a wide variety of topics here. We do some collabing with other channels. Hopefully, we get some more collabing jumping off soon. Also, I talk about life experiences such as the dementia video the other day. There'll be some more things coming through. Prison reform on the system, the penal system, federal and state, county levels. County and state pretty much the same. You either get sentenced to the county jail or you get sentenced to a prison, right? Or you might get sentenced to a program, depending on what the issue is, what the situation is. So we talk prison reform. We talk true crimes in the area of the Bay Area, between the Bay Area and the Valley, which is the Sacramento Valley. And so that's like crimes that are, like I said, in my area, right? I did one video on a crime that one of the guys involved I went to high school with. I used to go to lunch with him, and I dropped that video. There will be another video that'll be dropping on a guy that had the same name as me that was murdered in prison by his cellie, and I'll break that down on why it pertains to me or what the link is. Um, Also, we talk prison stories. I tell some stories of me being in prison or the programs, how it ran in there. I spent a lot of time in the joint, going in and out, which I believe is worse than you just doing a stretch of 10 years straight. Then you come out a couple years, do a couple years, come out a couple years, go back a few years, come out. It's always starting over. You know what I mean? So I tell some prison stories. I try to, break through, and get people to understand, and by from my story that at the end of the day, it's not worth it, right? It's not worth crime don't pay. Yeah, it might pay during the time being, but when you get busted, it all comes crashing down. When you start finding out who's really there for you, who ain't, and it always is your family that's there for you, right? um, we also talk sports here: basketball, football, baseball, pro boxing, also UFC, MMA, also old school pro wrestling, 1984 to like 1992 ish. That's about the time I stopped watching it. And then I picked back up in like 96, 97 during the New World Order, WCW. I never watched really WWF at that time no more. And then I talk about one of my favorite topics, which, like most people know, I own XL American Bullies. This one right here should be a double XL. And then we have a co-owner type deal going with Maybelline, which is that female's auntie, and she's a double XL. American Bully. So we speak a lot about the American Bully on videos and things like that. So if seems to interest you, go ahead and check out a few of the videos and see what you think. If you like it, sub. Like the video and also share with anybody you believe that would like any of the content that's dropped. I'm still looking towards the future and dressing up the channel, better with intro, outro, and some other things. If anybody out there that watches this video knows how it has action at doing intros, outros, or anything they can offer as far as to better the channel, let me know and we can figure out something business wise or whatever. A dollar amount or whatever. Um, you can email me at what it do with Big Lou, or just comment me here and I can give you the email on any of the videos. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, so we'll be better in the videos. Also, we just crossed over the 2,000 watch hours. 1,000. So the criteria is 1,000 subscribers and then it's a combination of the 1,000 subscribers, which is that's mandatory, and the other part of it is you got to have either 10,000 shorts views on the shorts or 4,000 watch hours. Okay, so I barely crossed over halfway, but I have over 1,200 subs. So anybody out there, we're trying to get more subscribers, but people got to watch more of the videos. It takes a while to get those hours because you figure some of these videos I do are only 4 or 5 minutes, 8 minutes. You know what I mean? That's not that long, and you're getting 100 views on them, 40 views, 80 views. Every video, it fluctuates. There's some videos I only get 10 views to 20 views, and then other videos, 50 views, some 80 views, some 100 views, some 150 views, up until 350, 300 views. I got a couple over a couple thousand views. It just fluctuates. So definitely need to get the watch hours up, right? And then the topic of this video again is, you got these people, man, and it's ridiculous, where they're always, rah rah, like my brother Carlos says, with the rah rah, always talking about fuck this, f that rat, f this rat, f all rats, blah blah blah. Nobody that's about that lifestyle is gonna be wasting so much energy saying shit like that. You know what I mean? Anybody in that lifestyle knows that when the time comes, and what I mean by that is, if you see these rats or whoever it is that you don't like, that you'll handle it when the time comes. But you're not gonna be on some social media in the if you're on the screen doing it, let alone in the comment section, always talking about f this one, f that one, blah blah blah. It's a crock of shit. They're full of shit. I mean, people, you gotta see through this shit. You know what I mean? Anybody can get on here, put an avatar, and go by a fake name, or they can even go by Johnny Walker. They can go by Jack Daniels. They can go by Jose Cuervo. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Tequila Sunrise. They can go by all kinds of stupid ass names, but at the end of the day, they're nothing more than a fucking YouTube character, right? They're nothing more than a keyboard warrior, the old school, what we call cell soldiers, that they're behind their locked door of their cell and they're just wolfing, talking a gang of shit. And at the end of the day, ain't gonna bust a motherfucking grape. You know what I'm saying? You see this bench right here? You see that bench right there? So at the subway, at the bus stop, at the probation department, at the pro office, you got benches, something similar to that, right? And you can find out the dude next to you is a fucking weirdo, right? He has some funny things with either a kid or whatever. And I guarantee you, these motherfuckers that are on here running their mouth with all that rah rah tough guy shit won't even harm a fucking hair on that dude's head. You know what I'm saying? But yet this one, that one gotta go. Fuck this one, fuck that one, blah blah blah. It's all a crock of shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Uh, now don't get me wrong. Now, can people dislike that? And yeah, and them let it be known? Yeah, but they're gonna do it maybe once, maybe two times tops, and that's it. They're not gonna continue every time they jump into the comment section, go rah rah rah, and you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't happen. It's not something a real motherfucker does. Now, every now and then you will get somebody that will do that because they're more not flamboyant, but more boisterous about it. Yeah, okay, but the way I be seeing it here, nah. Come on, man. And some people need to fucking open their eyes and wake the fuck up, man. It's like I don't even see how some people can sit there with a straight fucking face without fucking starting to laugh or something when they say some of the shit they say. And I don't mean necessarily about themselves. I'm talking about when some of these motherfuckers praise and put other people on a pedestal, but yet it's clear as day right in front of them that there's some funny shit going on. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing that keeps going on is the selective outrage. You know what I'm saying? Different people, it pertains to different. The same thing that pertains to this one don't pertain to that one, but it's clear as day. It's the same fucking scenario. You know what I'm saying? I always make this comment too. There's a difference between an informant and a cooperator. There's a big difference. Um, and people always tend to use the wrong words. But when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, they both are no good. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny how people speak about shit, and they have no clue. Like, especially like the paperwork thing, like court documents and stuff like that. They start right away as soon as they read something, they run with it like it's gold. And what I mean by that is, like, if somebody's indicted, or I mentioned this before, when they got discovery packets, right? Your discovery packet. anything that has to do with that case, if you have co-defendants, anything that has to do with them, it's all going to be in this discovery packet. So, say Joe Blow is testifying in Joe Dirt. Joe Blow's testifying in Joe Dirt's in a police report that has to pertain to Joe Dirt, and they found some stuff at Joe Dirt's property or in his possession because of what Joe Blow said, right? Okay, Joe Dirt, or excuse me, Joe Blow is going to be on the discovery pack as a witness, right? And therefore, it's gonna be on everybody that's a co-defendant, even if what Joe Blow said has nothing to do with anybody else but Joe Dirt. Another thing, people get indicted where there's these big indictments where there's 20 people, 50 people, 60 people, 100 people, 40 people, whatever the fuck, right? And just because you're all on the same indictment doesn't mean you all know each other. Somehow, some way, the federal government uh, pieced this together, and because this guy had some phone call with that guy, and then somebody in his camp had a phone call with that guy, they just tie it all in. And I heard somebody say yesterday on a video, it was about the Cleveland family, um, and the individual said, and he's a well-known guy, everybody knows who he is. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's like, has tell me one time that a district attorney or a ADA, assistant district attorney, has took or a federal prosecutor has took something to a grand jury and they never came back with the indictment. And that's the truth too. And that goes, and that falls up under the prison reform, like I was talking about. Like they're like, how the fuck how is it even possible that when you're fighting a federal case that they can withhold your they can withhold your discovery pack up until, like, I think it was 30 or 60 days up until your trial starts. How does your defense team how can they possibly put a defense in proper motion, in proper, put a defense up for you if they don't even have time to do that? All this type of stuff is what needs to be abolished and replaced, repealed and replaced. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. There's no way in hell that, come on, and you're talking about cases that you're going to be sitting there fighting, especially if they got anything to do with murders and things like that, or co-defendants and a big, say, 20 guys. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. You know what I'm saying? Anything with murder, usually in the state, I've seen guys fight their shit anywhere from a year up until 8, 9, 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine that. I mean, obviously they're putting things off, and different attorneys for both the state and the defense team might have been, switched a few different times, but it is what it is. Those type of cases, things tend to get drug out. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's done it's usually purposely. There's a method behind the madness when it comes to that, right? And like I said, how can you possibly, when it comes to the feds now, because in state they have a certain amount of time to take you to a fair and speedy, they call it a speedy trial, where you say, I know I'm not waiving time, and they got to get you back in court by 2 weeks, and then again by like 45 days or something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's time restraints on it. And then the feds operate way different. The feds, you might go to court and then you might not go, and it's regular proceedings, but then you don't go back to court for like 5 months. When it's state, as long as you're not waiving time, you'll be back in court within a couple of weeks. So it's weird. It's just weird. And then, like I said, the the discovery packs, they can withhold it up until, like, I don't remember the exact number, but it's something like 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, something like that, that they can withhold it until your trial starts. And again, how is your defense team gonna put together a proper defense if what they need as far as evidence, testimony, or not, I mean, excuse me, evidence, wiretaps, surveillance, whatever evidence they found in your car, on you, in the house, wherever they searched, they said it was your belongings, uh, people's statements, all that shit, and they don't give it to you until 45 days until your trial starts. It's fucked up, and it needs to be replaced. It needs to be. That's why I say prison reform is big in this country, because they're supposed to prove you're supposed to be proven guilty without a reasonable doubt, but because of the media and the way things are put out there, it's a lot of times you're guilty and you have to prove your innocence, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. And another thing too, that same individual that I was talking about, that's a well-known guy that brought up how the the DAs take the thing to the grand jury and that tell him any case that's never came back with an indictment. He also said uh, about the oh man, it slipped my mind now about the oh man about the about if you did something years back and you got away with it, or you've been a career criminal, or you've been involved with a certain lifestyle for 4 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, 5 decades. Obviously you got away with things. If you're a criminal, you got away with more things than you've been caught. And so none of that shit's relevant. I don't like with OJ, for example. Yeah, okay, he did it. Everybody believes he killed those people, his ex-wife and Ron Goldman, but they couldn't prove it. And then he goes to jail in Nevada, and they break him off pretty fat. And it was like a retaliation for him beating the case in L.A. in California. So that shouldn't be flying either. And a lot of times you got these judges, these DAs the cops first of all will get statements from people knowing they're lying, right? Then the cops will turn over their lying statements to the DA, and then the DA will knowingly know they're lying, and then coach them, bring them into the courtroom, have them sit up on the stand, and knowingly coach them into practicing on what they're going to ask them and how they should answer and all that, knowing that they're lying, because at the end of the day that's an elected official and they're trying to go up with their political career. Usually DAs go up, they become a congressperson, a DA, ADA ends up running that office for that county or the state attorney general's office, or they go up further and became something else, and then eventually onto Washington. They might go to the state house first, and then maybe try to run governor, maybe, I don't know. But then eventually they end up landing on the Hill in Washington and become a congresswoman, congressman, and then the Senate. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. If you go look at all those people up there in Washington, you tell me how many are ex freaking how many got their law degrees? A ton of them, right? A ton of them, and a lot of them are ex cops too. But it is what it is. So they're trying to go up their political. So some of them become judges too. They become judges, and then they become like I said, a congressman, congresswoman, or a senator. And these judges, after these DAs put these lying people up there to testify, there's the judge allowing shit, right? Or the judge will make a comment like, "Oh, hey, it's go ahead and deliberate. You guys will be adjourned to deliberate. Keep in mind, juror 86 is got a vacation plan coming up. So basically he's telling them, don't take long, get this over with." Or the judge will be like, "Oh, I got a Friday's coming up. I got this thing in the Hamptons coming up, or the Poconos coming up, or Beverly Hills, whatever." You know what I'm saying? And they're like giving them the green light to go in there and just everybody agree and let's get it over with. And that's not what this penal system and the justice system was put together for. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, innocent until proven guilty and all that, and that's not the way it is. It's just plain and simple. It's not the way it is, especially if you have any type of somewhat history already, or you're linked to this or that. It rides you for the rest of your life, and they're always trying to bring that in to damage your credibility, damage your character, damage all that, right? So this video ended up turning from talking about people talking shit into prison reform somewhat, but that's all good in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? But feel free to comment, and all those people that come out there running their mouths about this or that, and everybody knows how I'm big against a man calling another man a bitch or a punk. It shouldn't happen, especially on social media. Come on, man. You're gonna come on here and call some dude a bitch, but how is he supposed to get with your program if you're gonna call him a bitch or a punk over the internet, over the social media? How are they supposed to get with you? If they said, "All right, you want to call me a bitch? Oh, okay, I'm gonna show you I'm a bitch," and want to throw them for the shoulders, but you're not giving them that opportunity because you're talking shit on the internet. There's other ways to handle shit. If you don't like somebody, there's other ways to handle it. You don't have to go that route with bitch and punk and all that, because, like I said, at the end of the day, you're not giving that man action at getting with your program for running your mouth, calling him a bitch. So that's how another thing too. That's how a lot of these motherfuckers ain't about shit. They're just not. They just do this. Dot, 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 dot. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been schooled. We don't do that. We don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these motherfuckers too. I hear a lot of these people saying, "Oh, well, wait till you're in that position. That's another thing too on the people that are telling. There's only two guys that on the social media that's ever admitted that they're rats and that they took the easy, cowardly way out, and that's Dominic Sicali and that's Mikey Scars. Everyone else of them all say when the question's asked, do you consider yourself a rat? All of them say no. I've heard them with my own mouth, on my own eye, on my own ear. Excuse me. Uh, you know, um, they got some excuse always, and what these motherfuckers do too, they always make themselves look like the heroes, and everybody else is just scum. Everybody else is just garbage. Everybody else is a scumbag. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, and people would say, "Oh well, well, when you're in that position, looking at 100 years, hey, okay, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of their stories are legit fucked up reasons, but at the end of the day, like Mikey Scar says, he didn't take an oath to Peter Gotti. He took an oath to the whole entity, right? And that's what these guys are failing to realize. It just happened to have a fucked up boss in place and fucking higher ups in place that they were able to fucking politic against you and get you, whatever. But motherfuckers can't tell me that even before actually taking that oath, that they didn't see some fucking backstabbing somewhere along the line, and or they might have been backstabbing people and doing janky shit and scandalous shit, right? And then on top of that, what about when something comes down like, oh man, did you hear about Big Lou? The word going around is that he might be cooperating or something like that, or oh, you heard about Big Lou? They're saying that he's been withholding holding money from his captain or his boss or whatever the fuck, right? And people are the first ones to point the finger and talk shit, behind their backs. You know what I'm saying? I heard another dude one time say that his dad told him, he said, you never want to do that because you never know who's going to be your boss in the future, and people hold grudges. And when they get more power than you, they're going to, they're going to remember that. You know what I'm saying? So all these dudes that say, oh, well, you weren't looking at 50 years. Oh, they took your money. They took all your money. Hey, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I believe the story. I believe that happens. But at some point, at some point, you've probably done that type of shit too. Like, Sammy, the fucking cryptic motherfucker over there, that fucking the United States made the deal with the devil. He's one that's always making himself look like he's the fucking the most legit dude there was, and business wise, he was so fucking honorable. You know what I'm saying? All he's doing is trying to change history because at that time he was more younger. He was like barely, I think, 40, and so most of the guys are gone now. You know what I'm saying? John Gotti's gone, Peter Gotti's gone, Lacasio's gone, Jimmy Brown's gone, Patsy Conte's gone, Joe Butch is gone, uh, so on and so forth. All the old timers are gone, right? The only ones that are alive is the Carrazos, Danny Marino, Genie Gotti, and them dudes ain't gonna speak and say nothing, and he knows that. So they're gonna withhold their mud, and they're not gonna say nothing. He knows that, and the rest of them are dead. So he can come out here saying whatever. And the funny part about it is that now he's saying different shit. That he put in the book with Peter Moss. He's coming out saying different shit than what he wrote in the book in 1992 or 4 or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? He's just trying to change history, and he just wants himself to make, he just wants himself to be the fucking good guy. Come on, man, miss me with that shit, man. You're a terrible motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You're a piece of scum. You know what I'm saying? You don't care about shit. You don't care about nobody. You don't care about your kids and all that because you wouldn't have put them in a position. And if it's true, like you said, they were already doing things, you should have stopped it. You had plenty of money. There was no need for you to be dibbling and dabbling in that shit. The government allowed you to keep millions upon millions, and you had businesses upon businesses going at the time. Uh, there ain't no excuse for that shit, man. There ain't no excuse for that shit. You know, uh, they gave you a second chance on life for like scot free, 5 years on 19 murders you admitted to being involved with. You know what I'm saying? All that shit needs to be reformed. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, there's only so much you can complain about and say, oh, well, I was put in the wrong position, a fucked up position. I mean, it's true. Like I said, there's a lot of backstabbing motherfuckers. They take advantage of people once they're out of the way in jail or whatever the fuck. But to sit there and act like, oh my God, like, look what they did to me. Like you never were on the street and seen this happen to other people. And most likely you probably have been involved with some things or another, or just like that. So I don't buy any of that shit, man. Now, if you come out here and was more like, be real about it, like, yeah, I'm a rat. I fucking told. I saved myself. I took the weak way out. You know, hey, that'd be a lot more respectful. And this is another thing, too. Uh, I used to talk to a dude that cooperated, right? And because he was pushing a message. It was pushing a message towards the kids about don't get involved with this shit. It's not too late. You can change your life. You can get back on track. I was with that. As soon as I heard the words about the Justice Department and shit, like, rats are the winners and the losers are the ones rotting away in the joint, I'm not with that. Never was with that. Never will be with that type of. I can't support that, and I did it in the right way. I did it in the right way. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I just had to say that right now, along with what I'm saying with this video, and I'm gonna go ahead and tap on out. With that being said, like I said, if it's the first time you're coming to the channel, it'd be highly appreciated if you sub, like, and share the channel, man. And yeah, we're gonna be doing our thing, trying to get the numbers back up, because since I started this project at work, I've been burnt out, and my numbers been going down, and I've been going 4 or 5 days, like 3 different occasions with no videos, and I'm suffering from it. You know what I'm saying? My views went down like over 20,000 in the last 28 days, and my subs went down almost. I mean, excuse me, my watch hours went from 601 down to, like, I think it's 430 something now, and then my subs went down from 200 and something down to like 140, 150 or something. So it's still showing my numbers are up, but they're not as up like they were. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, Big Lou, Campeón del Mundo, aka Champ, Daisy Queen, aka Daisy La Sula, tapping on out, and it's pretty hot. But before I go, people, make sure your dogs are in the shade like these guys are. Don't overwork them. Really, don't work them at all during the hot temperatures. Anything, I would say anything about 78 degrees. Don't, especially American Bully. Don't try to work them, make them run. None of that stuff. And make sure they have plenty of water. You know what I'm saying? Um, you don't want your dog getting heat stroke. It's not too nice of a sight, and it's can be deadly. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, Big Lou, gone.